Imagine for a moment that every word you say has the power to unlock the doors to a mature woman's heart. Not just the surface-level attraction, but a deep, lasting connection that lingers long after the conversation ends. Today, I'm going to share with you the secret language that can spark desire, build trust, and deepen intimacy in ways you never thought possible. Here's the best part. You don't need to become someone you're not. The key lies in understanding how to use your words with intention and authenticity. Throughout this video, I'll guide you step by step with real-life stories, practical tips and strategies that work not just to impress, but to genuinely connect. If you've ever wondered how to truly capture the attention and affection of a mature woman, this is the video for you, so stay with me, because by the time we're done, you'll have the tools to transform your relationships and maybe even the way you see yourself. My name is Karen, and welcome to the family. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join our community, a space for wisdom, growth, and real connection. If this message speaks to you, drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're with me. And if you're unsure, that's okay too. Drop a 0, because this is a journey and we're all learning together. I promise you what's coming will surprise you and leave you with tools that can shift not just your love life, but your emotional life as a whole. Let's get started. 1. The power of saying no. When was the last time you confidently said no without hesitation? If the answer doesn't come easily, you're not alone. Most men underestimate the power of setting boundaries, but let me tell you something. Saying no with respect and conviction is one of the most attractive qualities you can possess. Let me explain why. When a man sets boundaries, he sends a powerful message. I know my worth. Mature women who've lived through relationships and challenges can sense insecurity a mile away. A man who is afraid to say no often comes across as desperate or unsure of himself, but a man who knows his own values, that's magnetic. Take Andres, for example. For years, he was a classic yes-man, always eager to please the women he dated. He thought that by saying yes to everything, he'd be the perfect partner. But over and over, his relationships fizzled out. Women would lose interest, and he couldn't figure out why. One day he confided in Clara, a close friend of mine in her 50s. Clara told him something that changed his perspective forever. Women don't want a man who agrees with everything we say. We want someone who stands firm, who knows who he is, and isn't afraid to show it. Andres decided to try something new. The next time he was in a relationship, he practiced saying no. Not out of stubbornness, but out of authenticity. His girlfriend at the time, an intelligent and strong woman named W, asked him to stop seeing his friends on weekends to spend more time with her in the past. Andres would have agreed without a second thought, but this time he remembered Clara's advice. With a calm and genuine smile, he said, no, my friends are an important part of my life, and I don't want to lose that. To his surprise, instead of being upset, W's reaction was completely different. She looked at him with a newfound respect, even admiration. By standing his ground, Andre showed her that he valued his time, his relationships, and himself, and that made her even more attracted to him. Why does this work? Psychology tells us that setting boundaries demonstrates self-respect, and when you respect yourself, others are naturally drawn to you. Mature women in particular find this quality irresistible because it signals emotional maturity and strength. As my grandmother used to say, there's nothing more attractive than a man who knows what he wants and what he doesn't. That well-placed no isn't about rejection, it's about authenticity. It shows that you're not afraid to be yourself, even if it means standing your ground. So the next time you're in a situation where you feel pressured to agree to something that doesn't align with your values, pause and ask yourself, is this what I truly want? If the answer is no, say it calmly and confidently. You'll be amazed at the respect and attraction that follows. Remember, a mature woman values a man who is true to himself. And when you embrace the power of saying no, you pave the way for a relationship built on mutual respect, honesty, and authenticity too. The art of challenge. Have you ever noticed how the most intriguing relationships often begin with a bit of playful tension? It's not about being argumentative or dismissive, but about being bold enough to challenge someone in a way that sparks curiosity and mutual respect. This is especially true when it comes to connecting with mature women. The art of challenge isn't about testing someone's patience. It's about showing that you're not afraid to engage, to question, and to bring your unique perspective into the conversation. Let me tell you about Sam, a client of mine in his late 30s who felt like he could never keep a woman's interest for long. Sam was the classic nice guy, polite, agreeable, and always eager to go with the flow, but after a few dates, women often seemed to lose interest. He didn't understand why he wasn't rude or dismissive. He listened to their stories and agreed with their opinions. Wasn't that what women wanted? What Sam didn't realize was that his constant agreement made him seem passive. He wasn't showing up as a man with his own thoughts, opinions, and sense of individuality. Mature women in particular are drawn to men who challenge them not in a combative way, but in a way that stimulates their minds and emotions. They want to feel that spark, that dynamic energy that makes every interaction exciting and alive. I encouraged Sam to try something different on his next date instead of agreeing with everything the woman said. I told him to listen actively and offer his genuine thoughts, even if they didn't align perfectly. His next date was with a woman named Lena, a sharp and confident entrepreneur in her 40s. During their dinner, Lena brought up a popular book she had just read. Raving about its message in the past, Sam would have nodded along, even if he hadn't fully agreed. But this time he took a chance. "I've read that book," he said, "and while I think it had some great points, I actually found parts of it a little too simplistic. What did you think about the way the author handled relationships? Did that resonate with you?" Lena paused, a flicker of surprise, crossing her face, but instead of dismissing him, she leaned in. Intrigued, their conversation took on a new depth as they debated the book's ideas, each challenging the other in a way that felt lively and engaging. By the end of the night, Lena told Sam it was the most stimulating conversation she'd had in months. Why did this work? Because Sam wasn't afraid to bring his authentic self to the table. He showed Lena that he had his own perspective, and he respected her enough to share it. Honestly, this kind of dynamic creates what psychologists call positive tension, the kind that keeps conversa fresh, exciting, and meaningful. The key to mastering the art of challenge is balance. It's not about putting someone down or proving them wrong. It's about being confident enough to share your thoughts while staying open to theirs when you challenge a mature woman. In this way, you're showing her that you're her equal, someone who isn't afraid to engage with her intellect and emotions. So the next time you're in a conversation, resist the urge to simply agree for the sake of harmony. Instead, listen deeply, think critically, and share your genuine thoughts. You'll find that this approach not only sparks interest, but also creates a connection that feels real and alive. 3. Vulnerability, the hidden strength. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be truly vulnerable? Not just sharing surface-level details about your day, but opening up about your fears, dreams, and the experiences that shaped you. For many men, vulnerability feels like a weakness, something to be avoided at all costs. But let me tell you a secret for mature women. Vulnerability is one of the most powerful and attractive traits a man can possess. Let me take you back to a story about Jacob, a 45-year-old divorced father who came to me for advice. Jacob was successful in his career and confident in most areas of his life. But when it came to dating, he felt stuck. He worried that if he showed any hint of vulnerability, women would see him as weak or unreliable. So he kept his guard up, always projecting an image of strength and control. One day, I challenged Jacob to try something different on his next date. Instead of focusing on impressing the woman, I asked him to share something real, something personal that revealed who he was beneath the surface. At first, he was hesitant. "What if she thinks I'm too emotional?" he asked, but he agreed to give it a shot. Jacob's next date was with a woman named Mia, a vibrant artist in her early 50s over coffee. They talked about their careers and hobbies, but Jacob could feel the conversation staying on safe surface-level topics. Then he remembered my advice, taking a deep breath. He said, "You know, I don't share this often, but one of the hardest things I've ever gone through was my divorce. It taught me a lot about myself, about what I want in a partner and what I need to work on in myself." Mia's reaction surprised him. Instead of pulling away, she leaned closer, her expression softening. She shared her own story of heartbreak and growth, and the two of them found a deep sense of connection in their shared experiences. That vulnerability became the foundation for a relationship that was built on trust, honesty, and mutual understanding. Why is vulnerability so powerful? Because it shows that you're human. It breaks down walls and allows for genuine connection. Mature women who've likely faced their own challenges and triumphs appreciate a man who isn't afraid to show his true self. Vulnerability isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength, courage, and authenticity. So the next time you're tempted to hide behind a mask of perfection, remember this real connection comes from being real. Share your story, your struggles, and your dreams. You'll find that the right woman will not only accept you for who you are, but will admire you for your courage in sharing it. For confidence without arrogance. Confidence. It's a word that it's thrown around in almost every dating advice column, blog, or video. But what does it truly mean? For some, confidence is about walking into a room like you own it, exuding an air of dominance and control. But when it comes to mature women, confidence isn't about posturing or bravado. It's about a quiet, grounded self-assurance. It's about knowing who you are, being comfortable in your own skin, and treating others with respect and kindness, while standing firm in your values. Take Andrew, a 50-year-old entrepreneur. As an example, Andrew had everything going for him on paper. A successful career, a great sense of humor, and a sharp sense of style. But when it came to dating, he often overcompensated. He tried too hard to impress women with his accomplishments, listing off his career milestones and luxury travel destinations as if he were reading from a resume. The women he met were initially impressed, but something didn't stick. He couldn't figure out why. When Andrew came to me, I quickly saw the issue. His confidence came across as arrogance, because it was rooted in the need for validation. He wasn't sharing these details to connect. He was using them to seek approval. I challenged Andrew to rethink what confidence meant to him, instead of focusing on what you've achieved. I told him, focus on who you are as a person. What do you stand for? What makes you come alive? Confidence isn't about convincing someone to like you, it's about showing them the real you without apology on his next date. Andrew took this advice to heart. Instead of leading with his accomplishments, he focused on being present and curious. When his date CLA asked about his work, he shared a story about how his first business venture had failed and what he'd learned from it. He laughed at his mistakes, spoke openly about his growth, and showed humility in his success. Claire was captivated not by his resume, but by his authenticity. She told him she felt like she was talking to someone real, someone who didn't need to prove himself, but simply wanted to connect. This is the kind of confidence that attracts mature women. It's not about being the loudest or most accomplished person in the room. It's about being steady, genuine, and unapologetically yourself. Confidence without arrogance is magnetic because it shows that you're secure in who you are and that you value others for who they are, not for how they validate you. So how do you cultivate this kind of confidence? Start by shifting your focus inward. What do you love about yourself? What are your core values? What makes you feel alive and purposeful? The more you embrace these aspects of yourself, the less you'll feel the need to seek validation from others. And when you show up with this kind of grounded confidence, you'll naturally attract women who appreciate and respect you for who you are. Presence, the ultimate connection tool in our fast-paced, distracted world. Presence is one of the rarest and most valuable gifts you can offer someone. It's not just about being physically present, but about giving your full, undivided attention to the person in front of you. For mature women who are often juggling careers, families, and personal growth, the ability to feel truly seen and heard is incredibly powerful and incredibly attractive. Imagine this: you're on a date and your phone keeps buzzing in your pocket. You glance at it occasionally, even if you're trying to be subtle. Your date is talking, but your mind is already on your next meeting, your to-do list, or the witty response you're planning to say next. Now ask yourself, how connected do you think she feels to you in that moment? Probably not much. Being fully present means letting go of distractions and focusing entirely on the person you're with. It means listening not just to their words, but to the emotions behind them. It means noticing the little things, the way her eyes light up when she talks about her passion, the way her tone softens when she shares a personal story. Presence is about making her feel like in that moment she's the most important person in the world. To you, I once worked with a client, Kevin, who struggled with this. Kevin was always in his head, overanalyzing every interaction and worrying about how he came across. His dates often felt more like interviews than organic conversations because he was so focused on saying the right thing. When I asked him how much he actually listened during these dates, he admitted that he spent most of the time planning his next move. To help Kevin break this habit, I gave him a simple exercise on his next date. I told him to focus entirely on listening. No planning, no strategizing, just listening with the intention of understanding and connecting. When his date shared something, I encouraged him to ask follow-up questions that showed genuine curiosity rather than steering the conversation back to himself. The results were transformative. Kevin's date, Sarah, later told him she felt like she could talk to him for hours because he made her feel so understood. She said it was rare to meet someone who was so attentive and genuinely interested in getting to know her. For Kevin, this was a game changer. He realized that presence wasn't just about making someone else feel good. It also allowed him to relax and enjoy the moment, free from the pressure of trying to impress. Presence is a skill that can be cultivated with practice. Start small. Put your phone away during conversations. Maintain eye contact and truly listen without interrupting or planning your next move. When you give someone your full attention, you're not just creating a connection, you're showing them that they matter to you. And that's a feeling that never forget. At the heart of it all, attracting a mature woman isn't about tricks, strategies, or games. It's about adopting a mindset that values authenticity, mutual respect, and genuine connection. When you show up as someone who's confident but humble, curious but grounded and open, but discerning, you naturally create an irresistible dynamic. These traits, playful boldness, the art of challenge, vulnerability, confidence without arrogance, and presence aren't just tools for dating. They're qualities that elevate every aspect of your life, from your friendships to your career, to your own sense of self-worth. So don't think of this journey as simply learning how to attract mature women. Think of it as becoming the best, most authentic version of yourself, because here's the ultimate truth. The most attractive thing you can be isn't perfect, it's real, and the right woman will see that, appreciate it, and be drawn to it in a way that feels natural and effortless. Now go out there and be the man who's bold enough to challenge, vulnerable enough to connect, and confident enough to be himself. You've got this.